Hi guys, this is Fred Kitchen with Henson and Kitchen Mortuary and the 411, and today we're into episode number 5. This is part 2 of an episode we started last week talking about probate. So we're going to kind of go back into that, talk about some things that maybe will shed a little bit of light to help you have a little bit better understanding and build off of what we did in episode number 4 last week. Let's go back and talk once again what the definition of probate is. Probate is the legal process whereby a will is proved in a court and accepted as a valid public document that is the true last testament of the deceased. That in a nutshell is what probate is. So let's go ahead and continue into some things that we are going to do as far things we'll need and things that we'll have to do to move into the probate process. We talked last week that we would need to go to a probate court, a probate office. It's usually at our county courthouse, in our clerk's office. So here's some items that they are going to need in the state of West Virginia. Okay? They'll need a certified death certificate. It must be certified to get the process started. They will need the original will of the deceased. Okay, so we'll need a certified death certificate, original will of the deceased, and then we'll need all the addresses for all the beneficiaries that are named in the will. They will also need to verify the will, and when they verify, what they're looking for is to make sure that it is witnessed and it is notarized so that they know they are working with a legal document. Okay, so that is if you have a will. If you do not have a will, then you would die intestate. So let's talk a little bit about that. If you die intestate and there is no will, then the probate court would need the names of the deceased heirs, all of the heirs, and then need the name of the person who is going to stand up and probate the estate, who's going to be in charge there. That person will need to be bonded since there is no will. So here's a couple ways that you can be bonded. A homeowner can sign a bond. It's a bond paper, and a lien will be placed against their property until the estate is settled, and that's one way to post bond to be able to work in this, to probate this estate. The second way is you can be bonded by an insurance company. The insurance company will provide you an insurance policy, and it's purchased for a probate bond. And so those are two ways that you can be bonded if you do not have a will. Okay, so let's move on through as if you had a will or if you didn't have a will. We talked about both of those, but here's how the process continues on based on those two criteria there. Then they will do an appraisement of the estate. They will give you some appraisement documents. It's provided by the state of West Virginia, and these appraisement documents are something that is really from the state tax department. They must be completed. And what they'll do is you will go through and you will list all the assets, everything that the deceased owns in that appraisement of the estate. To settle the estate, it can take approximately 3 months. That depends on how quickly that you turn that appraisement back in, the appraisement of the estate, so that they can get started right away on that for you. So that's one of the things you want to make sure you do is get your paperwork, your documentation, all that turned in as quickly as possible so that the process can move smoothly for you. Probate will then advertise the estate for 2 weeks. Okay, so it'll advertise it in local newspaper. It'll advertise it for 2 weeks, and then after that, the estate process will take approximately 60 days from when the first announcement is in the newspaper, and that's an approximate time there. That's as if you got all the paperwork in time also. So we got the advertisement, and then they will actually, after everything's done, they will do a final waiver of settlement where all heirs will sign off on it, and then there is an additional 10 days after that that comes into play after that final waiver is signed. So another 10-day wait period, and then after that 10-day wait period, nobody comes forward and no collections are placed against the estate from any one that would be owed money. So what will happen then, once it's all done, once the heirs sign off on that, the additional 10 days, then it's submitted to the next county commission meeting, and then the county commission will vote on it to close that estate out, and then it'll be closed out. One other thing to keep in mind that people ask about estate taxes and things like that. There's no estate taxes, only on estates over $5.5 million. So if you've got $5.5 million worth of assets, there will be estate taxes on that. So hopefully this has been helpful. We're going to kind of wrap up things here talking about probate. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us anytime. Be happy to help you. Always seek out an attorney for legal advice if you need something that's going to be more complicated than what we talked about today. Thanks again for sharing these videos. Thanks again for watching. Make sure you continue to share the videos. That's how we get the word out to let people be educated to make better decisions about their final planning. Thanks again. Goodbye.